All right. We are live, and I am hoping that our audio is okay today because I was having some issues again with the audio. So, fingers crossed that things are okay today. I had to make a few tweaks and adjustments. Things weren't going the way I wanted it to. So, I'm gonna fix this a little bit. There we go. That might be a little bit better. No, maybe not. Trying to set up things earlier, and it did not quite go the way I wanted it to. So, um, you guys got a big old zoom in of me, kind of bobbing the camera here. But yeah, welcome to the podcast. I guess we're gonna call it podcast again. Hey, what's going on there? How we doing there, Daniel? Sorry, I couldn't see the chat for a minute. Still adjusting my eyes. I don't have my glasses on, so I try to do these without my glasses. But yeah, we got some stuff, got some topics to talk about today on the stream. Obviously, a little bit of gaming news, a little bit of TV show news, maybe a little bit of other stuff here we can talk about depending on how we are for time. But yeah, I managed to download Baldur's Gate 1 on your phone. Oh, sweet! You know what? That would probably really work good on a phone. I didn't even think about that. That would probably work good. Does it utilize like touchscreen and stuff, or do you need a controller for it? Sorry, I'm trying to adjust myself over here. My setup is kind of all over the place today. So I'm trying to not have my air conditioner be in the view that's sitting right here in the window. So I'm trying to like move everything over. But yeah. So does that work? Does that work good on the phone? I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. Cool. I'll have to check into that. I'm checking into it right now, actually, while people are rolling in here. I managed to get my coffee. That's why I was little tiny bit late. I was literally, what, a minute and a half late because I had to actually, just to move my mic, just had to fill my Keurig up with more water. Oh, okay. So you kind of did like a bootleg of it. Yeah, I'll have to look into the App Store. I didn't even know that was available in the App Store. I'll have to check it out because I'm definitely a bigger fan of Baldur's Gate. Um, 1 and 2 than I am of 3. Oh yeah, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Ah, it's $10 on the phone. Might actually be something I'd play on the phone. Oh no, you have Baldur's Gate 2 as well. Okay, nice. Neverwinter Nights they have Icewind Dale. They have Planescape. Wow, I actually didn't even look. I've never actually looked on the phone for games. I don't usually game on my phone as much. I'll turn up my light a little bit here. There we go. Oh, there we go. My light was down. Wow, that's pretty cool. Oh, so you got it as a free download. I'll have to look into that. Can see it on the App Store. It's $10 for each game. So like that's quite a few games. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust things still a little bit here. There we go. All right, I think that's a little bit better. But yeah, just a little kind of refresher here. We're gonna talk we're gonna talk about a little bit of nerdy stuff today. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Bungie. We talk about Bungie and stuff like that every week. And do well to check some marathon. We're gonna talk about a little bit about Xbox this week, a little bit about Nintendo maybe. And wow, that was really loud. I don't know why that just did that. I don't know why we have that audio going all of a sudden. Give me a moment here. There we go. Stupid ad just rolled up. My thing, that was so bad. Wow, sorry about that. Again, another little kerfuffle here. Can't have a stream without a boomer moment. Um, Oh, that's really cool. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into the Baldur's Gate on the phone. Yeah, I haven't looked. Yeah, sorry about that. Really, really loud ad. Even with ad block on, apparently it wasn't blocking that ad. So, yeah, good old. I believe that was an IGN ad. Yeah, of course. I was just pulling up an article, um, seeing what we had going on, and wow, 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 wow. That was crazy. So, I apologize for the really, really loud Palworld advertisement. So there's a little bit of a spoiler for later on today. We're gonna talk a little bit about Nintendo's Palworld lawsuit. Talk a little about Doctor Who, man. We're talking a little bit about Doctor Who. Rest in peace, Doctor Who. We'll get into that at the end, obviously, but oh man, I'm kind of happy to see it go because I don't like where I saw it. And we might talk about a little about Ubisoft too a little bit later on today as well. So we got a couple of gaming things to talk about. One thing about a series that's very near and dear to my heart, obviously Doctor Who. So I do want to talk a little bit about that today because it's something I've been a fan of for a very, 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 very long time. And yeah, Loudboy, what's up, man? We're gonna talk about Xbox today too. Yep, I mentioned that just a couple minutes ago. We're gonna talk about some more Xbox departures, some more Xbox kind of shuffling, what's going on over there. Again, we're gonna talk about Bungie. We're talking about Bungie and Marathon, their cringe statements they made this past week, and yeah, we're gonna do a couple of little things here. And yeah, things have been getting kind of crazy, especially over there with Xbox, man. But yeah, we got lots of stuff we can talk about today. So, oh man, I don't even know if we have enough time in the stream to cover just the basic things I want to cover. So, um, yeah, I don't know. There's lots of stuff. So why don't we start the stream like usual, and we'll get into kind of like the collectibles portion. So I always like to start with the collectibles portion. We get that kind of out of the way, and then we kind of get into some topics because we got a lot of topics to talk about. We got a lot of figures to go over. And yeah, there's a couple of things I want to kind of pick some brains about afterwards when we get to the end of the stream. So apologize. I still got sleepy dust in my eyes, and I haven't even been asleep, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's lack of sleep, sleepy dust. I don't know. But yeah, we've got a lot of figures I highlighted this week, and they were all, you know, X-Men themed. I went to comic book stuff. Uh I don't know, people complain about me doing comic book stuff, and then they perform pretty well. So, I do obviously have a wide variety of things I'm interested in. So, I mean, up here we got Star Wars, we got DC, we got Marvel, we got anime stuff, we got Persona stuff, video game stuff. Like I'm into a bunch of different stuff. So I like to highlight a lot of different things. And I get some pushback from a couple of people about then I do comic book theme weeks and stuff like that. So we're gonna talk a little bit of good news later on, a little bit of bad news later on, but first we'll get into the easy portion of the stream, which is gonna be we're gonna talk about the collectibles. We'll do that first. You know, collectible podcast. Yeah, we're gonna talk collectibles too. So this week I went with a line that I'm very, very obsessed with, to say the least, and has since priced me out. But I went with Iron Studios week, specifically the X-Men. So, if you guys don't know, Iron Studios is a pretty popular statue collectors company. They make some really stupid stuff, like their minifigures and stuff like that, but hey, whatever, we won't get into that. They make some incredible 1/10 scale and up pieces, and they almost always look absolutely incredible. So this week, with my love of the X-Men, we got some X-Men 97 updates, new trailers, things like that. I decided we'd make an X-Men themed week. And one of the statues that I highlighted got way less views than the other. And I'm going to let you all kind of take a guess as we go through them all which one of these got the low views by more than half. And if we can figure and isolate why, and we'll go there. So I did not know there was a demo for a new Sword Art game. I'm gonna have to download that. Maybe we'll stream that this week because the last Sword Art game I played on stream, you guys. Oh, I don't know if any of you were around for that, but I rage quit that game because it was so goddamn bad. Ooh, I still have nightmares about that one. But I'll have to check into that if there is a new demo. But yeah, let's get into some X-Men. So we'll get the X-Men out of the way, and then we'll talk about anime, we'll talk about a little about video games. So, this week I went above average. I went and did 6 figures. So, the ladies ask, guys, I bring home 6 figures, and they all did pretty well. With the exception again of one. So let's see as we go through these, if you guys can take a guess at which one performed not so well. So we started off the week strong with Cyclops, of course, the leader of the X-Men. And again, this is part of what they call the Sentinel Battle Diorama series. Now, what this set was is basically, it was massive Sentinel statues. They were, I think, 2.5 to 3 feet tall. And they were huge, and they literally had a bunch of the X-Men that were on them in the actual huge piece. They went around $1,600 a pop. They were pretty crazy. And then what Iron Studios did was they also made each one of the X-Men separate from the display, so you could buy them separately. It was pretty cool because you had an option whether you wanted to buy the Sentinels by themselves, or if you just wanted to buy one of the Sentinels, or if you wanted to buy all the figures that went around it. My case, I wanted Sentinel number 1, which was the one that came with all your OG X-Men, most of your OG X-Men. It had Cyclops, it had Iceman, it had Wolverine, it had Beast, and I think it had Rogue. I think those were the X-Men it came with. And then it also came with the exclusive figure that you could only get with the bundle, which was Kitty Pryde. I believe Kitty Pryde was the exclusive for the first one. I could be wrong. You know what? Before I say that, let me verify first. Let me make sure I get it right. So, no, it was Jubilee was on Sentinel number 1. Sentinel number 3 was Shadowcat. That's right. So there were 2 exclusive figures or statues, and one was Jubilee and one was Shadowcat. So Sentinel number 1 was actually Beast, Rogue, Wolverine, Cyclops, and yeah, it was Beast, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Rogue and Jubilee. Okay, so that's right. And then you had another Sentinel diorama with other X-Men on it, and you had another one with other X-Men on it, and they all could kind of go together, right? I loved what they did because they gave you the option to piecemeal it out yourself. You can create your own battle scenes, stuff like that. Kind of like I've shown on the other side of my room that I have kind of going on. So I bought all the figures, all the statues separately. Yes, and these are statues, not figures. I'm going to fumble my words because I'm so used to saying figures. But these are 100%, these are polystone actual statues. And they are 1/10, so they're only about, the yay tall. They're not huge. But the amount of detail in these is absolutely incredible. There's I believe, over 20 pieces in the X-Men line. So if you guys are curious, Cyclops, he's got ice all over his base because the way the Sentinels all line up, he's near where Iceman is in the next Sentinel diorama. So it's kind of cool where they do all kind of base together. But every one of these bases has throwbacks to the X-Mansion and the school and things like that in it, whether it's the floorboards, kind of the posts. Juggernaut is actually busting through the school doors. things like that. And there's Sentinel pieces all over them, kind of destroyed everywhere. So it's basically a huge Sentinel invasion at the X Mansion, and all the mutants are kind of coming out to play with some strange exclusions. So Cyclops was a pretty good one. He was, the only thing I don't like about this one is I wish they would have added an optic blast. Because in the actual Sentinel statue, he has an optic blast going and he's shooting the Sentinel. So it looks a little bit wonky with him not firing off one. I've seen people 3D print their own, kind of optic blast before, but I don't have a 3D printer. Maybe some way down the line I'll get one, but I think adding the optic blast would have been a cool thing, and maybe having the mouth open like he was shouting. Other than that, like, this is such a freaking cool piece. I absolutely love it, and I'm not even a huge Cyclops guy, but I think it's a very awesome Cyclops piece, especially for if you were looking back. I will correct myself before I even say it. Back when this came out, this was a very budget friendly line. So these proxy X-Men piece, right? They averaged 125 to about 175 a piece, which for a statue, that was not bad. Now, if you take and you go into current day with the Avengers comic line and the Spider-Man versus villains lines they're doing right now, same scale, comic style, those are running from 250 to 450 for the same size and the same scale. So we have almost doubled the price since these came out just 4 years ago, I believe it was. So just putting some things in perspective for you guys before we move along onto the next piece. These were what I used to sing the praise of Iron Studios and say these are fantastic because they are affordable enough where you can buy the characters you like. At $150, $125 for a statue, that's pretty damn good. Now they're going again 250 to 450. I had to stop. So, the X-Men line is kind of where I've stopped. Most recently, I did just review the Old Man Logan one, which was phenomenal. I loved it. So, just putting that in perspective before we go on, I'm gonna keep mentioning that these were great budget friendly pieces. Again, past tense when these came out. So, just keep that in mind. But even if you see here on Cyclops, if you look at the banister, it's got the X logo on the banister, and it's got like slashes kind of going across it, like Wolverine's been there. So it's pretty real cool. Like there's little Easter eggs inside of all these little bases and displays. It's really, really cool. And we followed up Cyclops. Well, we had to follow up Cyclops. Well, of course, we followed up with Jean Grey, right? So again, another one of the Battle Diorama series. You see right there at the base, she had a piece of the doors of the school with the big like lion head knocker kind of sitting there, and you can see all the pieces kind of moving around from her pink kind of effect, right? So it's a very, very cool piece. It's very minimalistic. She has a very small base, very small footprint. You can kind of plug her in to basically anywhere on your X-Men display. I think they sculpted this one absolutely gorgeous. The body is tight, like it looks good. The actual pose itself is really, really well done. She's kind of using the psychic powers. But again, we didn't have effects pieces on her hands or anything like that, which gives the psychic power effect kind of that little vibe, because I don't need to see purple and pink lights whenever she uses their psychic abilities. They're psychic. It's in your head. It's telekinetic. It's mind powers. I don't need to see it, but this actually just it pops. It looks great. Having the base like the way it is, it just makes everything stand out really, really well. They gave her a really pissed off looking face without making it look mannish, I guess you can say. There's no square jaw to it. They definitely kept the face very feminine. The blank eyes. I love how they gave her the white blank eyes. It looks really, really cool. And the hair is sculpted great. So My only issue with this when we put it together on the channel was she has a sideways kind of post going into the base. So that caused a little bit of wobble. Like it kind of would go like this occasionally. That made me a little nervous. So what I did was I actually took a little piece of double-sided tape and I put it there on the back of her leg so it sticks her to the back a little bit better. So now there's zero wobble. Um, I've seen some people use the little tack putty, but sometimes that leaves residue, and I didn't want to do that. So I just did the very, 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 very low, like double-sided tape. I just rolled one little piece around, put it right to the back of her leg, and it's good. Um, you wish you were a comic collector? Ah, loud boy. I wouldn't honestly recommend comic collecting to anybody nowadays. I'm out myself. Comic book modern no. Correction is I would not be a modern comic book collector because they suck. New comic books, they're terrible. That's what literally got me out of the game. I don't collect anymore. I would recommend maybe if you want to buy older stuff, definitely, because those books still have value. Any of the newer stuff, it's trash. You can skip all of it. But but yeah, I think Jean looks great. I think they did a fantastic job again with her. I think one of the pieces from the set I am missing is her alter ego, which of course is the giant phoenix, and it had the big giant firebird coming off of it. I did miss that one, and I kind of regret it, but I did not have the funds for it at the time because she was, I think, about 450. She was one of the more expensive ones in the set because the Phoenix was massive. I mean, her big Firebird came up huge. So that was one I missed because that was back. I was still in a relationship. It was presents and anniversaries and dinners and all that other stuff. And I was like, I can't really swing this right now. So do I regret it? Yes, I do, because that relationship went nowhere. Um, but yeah, definitely a great piece. And again, if you can find these Sentinel pieces for a decent price, I would still recommend getting to this day. Next up, of course, with Scott, we went Jean. Well, we gotta go with Wolverine, right? So I went to the classic version of Wolverine. I'm classic by he's in his actual costume, right? So in this line, they have one, two, three. There's three different. Well, for this line, there's two Wolverines, and for the 1/10 lines, there's four Wolverines now, all five. So there's quite a few Wolverines in this scale of series from Iron Studios. This is obviously from the Sentinel series, and then we also had a Logan for the Sentinel series as well. So I reviewed both these on the channel. I absolutely love them. This is obviously Wolverine in action. He's kind of raring to go. He's in the middle of a fight. He's charging that stuff. He's kind of bouncing off of a piece of a dismembered Sentinel there at the base. You can kind of see that. And he's kind of launching himself off of it. You have destroyed pieces of the school, like floorboards down below him. And man, their sculpt is great with this. It's got all of his arm hair. There's the dirt and the debris all over everything. And that's one thing I love. I said it in my Old Man Logan review. Is I love these pieces because they actually made them gritty. So they have the comic book slash cartoon look to them, but they also kept them like what is the term, like world worn, right? Where there's dirt and there's scratches on the costumes and everything else. So I love that they did that because they are in the middle of a battle. And so as you can see, there's literally there's dirt on the booty of Wolverine. His pauldrons are all scratched. Like the shoes, his feet, everything's got dirt and kind of debris like all over it. And I love they did that because it does make the pieces look like they're from a lived-in world. They're not just, some beautiful display piece. Like they actually look like there's been some stuff going on. And every one of them in this line does that. I absolutely love it. I think all the attention to detail in these pieces is so good. Again, you can see all the dirt kind of going up his shoes, the bottom of his shoes, all over his booty. Like it's all there. And then the muscle details, like I mean, look how how jacked he is. I mean, come on, man. They did a great job. He's got the open mouth. He looks like he's kind of yelling and roaring at people. It looks great. He's chiseled as hell. He's got the abs going. I mean, it's Wolverine too. There's not one thing I can find wrong with this one. And as a Wolverine fan, I mean, just look at that. Looking at it from the front, you just see how massive the arms look, and it's like, bro, they got it. They did it. So I think again another one that Iron Studios knocked it out of the park with in this Sentinel series, man. And as a Wolverine fan, I was glad to see it. I was glad to see him done very, very, very good justice. I think it's a fantastic piece. And in the actual large Sentinel diorama, it's this piece right here, but he's busting out of the chest of the Sentinel. So there's a big hole in the Sentinel, and he comes out of that. So it's like he's ripping through the Sentinel. It's pretty freaking rad. So it has Wolverines coming out of the chest and Rogues punching it in the face. So it's pretty freaking cool. But that was one that I actually had on pre-order. I've told that story on the stream before, but that's where I stopped going to one of my comic shops I used to go to. That was the piece that I had the guy order for me, and he ordered it for me, and then told me he didn't get it. And then when I went to his shop like a month later, it was there in his display case for double the price. So yeah, that was one of the pieces that I checked out of going to that shop for, and yeah, it never really brought me back to that place ever again. So it was somewhere I went to for years, and I just stopped going. What a scumbag! Yeah, dude. Definitely a dirty way of doing business. I was really pissed. So yeah, he doubled the price of it. He ordered it for me, and then told me he didn't get it, and then he went and doubled the price and put it on his shelf. Opened it up, put it on display, in his uh, collectibles display area, and then he had a price tag on it for. Oh no, not price tag. You had to ask him what it was priced, and then he priced it at over $3,600 when it came out at 1,600, and that's what I pre-ordered it with him at. And so yeah, it did frost my ass quite a bit. So needless to say, I have not spent a dime at that comic shop since because you do your customers dirty like that, and they ain't gonna come back. So from Wolverine, I decided to go. I don't want to say more niche, but one you don't see a lot of people post. And of course, I went to Kurt Wagner, the Nightcrawler. And again, I say it with this line a lot. They freaking knocked it out of the park with Nightcrawler. The poses, everything, just him coming up out of the kind of the cloud, his spark cloud, onto what you can see at the bottom is literally a piece of a Sentinel. So like he's either coming off the debris or he's coming off of a Sentinel. It looks fantastic. The way they've got him posed, he's in an action pose. He's kind of leaping into action. The only thing I would have possibly liked to have seen was if we had swap out hands with his swords. I think that would have been add a little bit more of the battle effect to the piece. But other than that, like it's an amazing Nightcrawler. It's so good. Like the sculpt of his hair, he does have a really, really, really pissed off look on his face. So you can tell just by what this piece looks like, he is in the middle of, again, a big battle with the Sentinels. And that's what this whole display thing is supposed to be. So as you go through all these Sentinel pieces, they're all either ripping pieces of Sentinels apart, on ripped off pieces of Sentinels, interacting with the Sentinel pieces, or something along those lines. So it's pretty cool. And obviously, as you saw in this clip right here, there was a little kind of teleport effect that came with him. So you could put that at one part of your display and put him at the other part. So like in my display, I have the little kind of effect piece in front of Apocalypse, and I have him on the other side of the battlefield. So it's like he bamfed away from Apocalypse, you know, so and I've got Rogue kind of coming in for a head-on punch in Apocalypse. So it looks like he bamfed out of the way for Rogue to come in and hit Apocalypse. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, you don't need the massive Sentinel to display these. You can literally have them all fighting each other, and it still works. You know, like there's a big proxy battle happening during a Sentinel invasion. So it's really, really cool. And I like being able to kind of display them, you know, in different various positions and things like that. I'm always moving them around kind of on my display and trying to make room for the rest of them. I still have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, I think, that are not even able to fit on the shelf. So yeah, I think there's over 20 of them. And yeah, they're all heavy, they're polystones. So it makes for a difficult display to get all of them together. I think I need something almost twice the size of what I have. So yeah, it's pretty freaking crazy. But going on with trends of characters you don't see posted a lot. We went with Bobby, aka Iceman. And yes, I got corrected. I got corrected. I said the ladies' man of the X-Men, and people got kind of salty. People said, he's gay. And I'm like, Emma Frost made him gay. Or no, Jean made him gay. Okay. She went into his head. She did that. Okay. I don't go by that. I don't like that. I think that was wrong. I think that was a very bad move in the comic. I think it was cringe. Because again, if it was a male telepath who went into a female's mind and then she was a lesbian or something after that, the internet would have been up in arms, right? And I don't like this retconning of of classic characters for modernization, you know, so to speak. And I think Iceman was always in every iteration. Iceman was kind of always a ladies' man. Yeah, I mean, you go back to Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Back when I was a kid watching that, it was him and Bobby and Firestar. And Bobby was kind of, you know, he was kind of always hitting on the women. You know, he was a ladies' man. So when they went and they changed him in the comics, I got a little pissed off. I did, you know, and rightfully so. I think when you change legacy characters like that, it's pretty cringe. But I get it. That's the Western thing, you know. But but this one was a unique piece. And this was something that's very difficult to pull off. Because as you can see, it's him in his ice form. And he is actually clear. And it is hard to get the details that they got in this piece into something that's clear. And honestly, it was hard as hell to capture it with my camera without my focuses just kind of going on the fritz, trying to focus on things. So this needed to be reshot like 3 times because my focus kept going off and out because it was clear and it was trying to focus on the things behind it. So it was pretty difficult to shoot this one. But as you can see, like all the details, he's got the chiseled abs going, the chest muscle, all the arm muscles, everything's sculpted, and he's even got his shorts, right? All of it is sculpted really, really well, including his kind of ice blast coming off his hands. I love that he's surfing up on his ice. I think it's fantastic. And when you zoom in on the face, he actually does have like a smirk going on his face. So it looks really, really rad. And I've noticed a lot of people say that theirs have been discoloring. And I mean, if you can see mine is not discolored. You do see a little bit of the brown from the base, but that's literally you're seeing through the clear, like you're seeing the brown base through the clear, right? You're not getting a discoloration. So it's a really great piece, and I think it's a fantastic depiction of Iceman. And I love that he's actually in combat, like he's got an effect coming off of him. A lot of these, you know, like Cyclops didn't have the optic blast, so I think that fact that they gave it to him just makes him kind of pop a little bit nicer. So definitely a cool piece. And again, another one, if you're an Iceman fan, dude, and you want an Iceman on the cheap, This is definitely one to look for. All right. And then I closed out the week. Big Man. Another guy who doesn't really get a lot of kind of out there love, right? Of course, we're talking about a big old Russian Colossus. So obviously, he is in the middle of some stuff in this scene, right? He's got literally a big hunk of Sentinel that he's ready to just fastball special at someone. And I absolutely love it. So you can tell by his base, he is in an outdoor area of the school. So you can see there's kind of like broken pillars underneath them. There's some water. So this is actually a different area of the school kind of for the battlegrounds, right? And you can see here, just in the way his hands are gripping that sentinel piece, it literally shows the hands that got the indentations that he's just gripping that thing and launch. He's ready to launch it, right? He's got the look on his face like he is exerting. He's ready to go. And in my display, he's actually hurling that piece over at Apocalypse. So he's facing off by Apocalypse. So we've got him, and we've got Rogue kind of coming up in front of him, ready to throw a punch. And Apocalypse is right there. So Apocalypse is ready to get popped in the face by Rogue and then have a Sentinel piece launched at him. So it's a really, really cool piece in the fact that just like with Nightcrawler and things like that, he's in action, he's in motion, makes it really, really cool. Again, you can see right there how the fingers are just dug into that Sentinel piece. And it adds just such a heft to everything, like a weightiness to it, because you see how he's crushing into it. And you can just see the exertion on his face. It just came out awesome. I mean, they sculpted the pose so good where he's in a throwing motion, like he's putting his whole body into it, and it just looks freaking awesome. And again, you can see by the feet and everything else, all the dirt and kind of the debris everywhere. Again, even around his hands where he's kind of going in, you can kind of see all like the rust and the decay and everything else kind of going all over him. It's such an amazingly detailed piece. And again, for being a 1/10 scale. This is not a giant quarter scale sideshow piece, $800 sideshow piece. This is a quarter scale. Back when this came out, he was one of the more expensive ones because, of course, he's one of the heftier ones. I think this one retailed at 175, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna look it up. Let me see. He was $179 when he launched. And then to put it in perspective, the newer versions, which is the Age of Apocalypse version, same scale, went up by $100. So the newer version of Colossus is now $280, whereas this one was $180. So again, you can see where the prices have gone up quite a bit. I thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't. Okay. So, yeah, it's a little crazy to just see the massive hike in prices, but it's like that with everything. It's like that with collectibles, it's like that with actual comic books. It's like that with video games, movies, everything. So he is still available, I believe, in some retailers, but I don't know if he's available through Iron Studios anymore or through Sideshow. I think those sites are you're not going to be able to get him from those. But resellers, I think he's going anywhere from. I'm looking right now. He's going anywhere for resellers from 190 to 400. So I mean, it's like everything else. Once they go out of print, they will go up in price, especially with statues. So, but if you can find them, like I said, if you can find one at a local shop that still carries these things, definitely jump on it because these Iron Studios pieces are phenomenal. And And that was it. So as you notice, I did do 6 figures this week, not the usual 5. I decided to go one extra because, I was like, there's so many awesome pieces in this line. Which ones do I highlight? So again, I was gonna go, Cyclops, Jean, Wolverine, Gambit, Rogue, and then throw one other person into the mix. But I was like, or Deadpool maybe. And I was like, maybe I don't want to go with as common, right? Um, as all the common characters. So I did throw in the Nightcrawler, I threw in the Colossus, things like that. Man, this wasn't waifu week. This was X-Men week. So we're talking about X-Men this week. But yeah, that was one of the things I said I wanted to know if obviously I was thinking about doing this week, following it up with X-Men villains, but instead this week I'm going. If anyone noticed Monday's post, it was kind of a chibi Sakura Miku I posted. I'm going to take some pieces from my daughter's collection because next week on the podcast, she's going to be here with me. We're going to be doing the episode together. So I'm doing more of her figures this week, things like that, or more figures that she likes, kind of that are in her higher tier. So it's going to be kind of like a daddy daughter theme for this week, which is going to be all the figures that we like. And then the week after that, depending on how things go, I might actually do a X-Men villains week. So obviously, like I said, what I usually do here at the end of the figure portion is I give you guys kind of my favorite for the week. So I'll go over everything again. We started the week, obviously, with the man, the leader, Cyclops. Again, these are all part of the Iron Studios 1/10 scale statues in the Sentinel Battle Diorama series, the BDS series, it's called. So started out with Cyclops, jumped from Cyclops to Miss Jean Grey over here, who was our only lady this week. I was gonna go with Rogue, but the last time I did Rogue, she actually got flagged on TikTok for adult content, and I got a warning on YouTube for nudity. I don't know how it was Rogue in her regular suit with her jacket, so I don't know how she got flagged. So I didn't post her this time, you know. But Jean did all right. Not as much as I wanted her to do. We went to Wolverine next. Obviously, ripping through some stuff here. And from Wolverine in his dirty, dirty costume over here, looking like a freaking berserker, just nut job with his giant muscles. We went to Nightcrawler, who, you know what? I got a lot of positivity about Nightcrawler again because not too many people show off Nightcrawler stuff. So that was pretty cool to see the positive reaction to him. I got people DMing me asking where I can buy him, things like that. Again, most of these are out of print, out of stock, and you're gonna have to buy them through third parties, which are gonna probably charge an arm and a leg. And speaking of charging an arm and a leg, we just went over it with Iceman. Oh no, sorry, that was Iceman, not Colossus. I was jumping the gun. But yeah, then went to Bobby Drake, aka Iceman, who again, I did have a fight with several people online, giving me rude DMs, telling me how he was gay. He's not a ladies' man, he's gay. And again, right there to those people. I think when they did that to Bobby, they destroyed his legacy character, his personality, because Bobby was always a ladies' man, and having Jean Grey go into his mind and pull out the fact that he is homosexual was really, really cringy, and it was disgusting. And I think if it was a male character who did that to a female character, the world and the internet would be up in arms. I think just because it was a male character that they were okay with it. And I think again that was something that it was stupid. It was she basically assaulted him. It mentally assaulted him, and she was praised for it. Whereas that would not be okay if it was the other way around. So I don't like did that. I think again said it right when I covered this. I think changing these legacy characters like that just to appease, you know, check boxes is extremely cringe. I think again, if you want to make characters certain race, a certain gender, a certain sexuality, whatever, make a new character, create a new character, and roll with it. And see what they do. Don't change our legacy characters, man. I loved Bobby being the smooth talking, fast talking ladies man, kind of trying to be a player. Because you know what, it was kind of like him and Human Torch back then. They were kind of like the ladies men. They're the younger guys that were kind of rambunctious. They were flirting. They were talking. And I don't think we need to change that. But apparently Marvel does, and they're not doing too great in their comics lately. So we finished off the week. There he is with the big man, of course, Colossus again. One that I just showed the example of inflation, so to speak, where the statue was $180 when it came out, and the newer iteration has jumped over $100. So that's not as bad as some of these other ones in their price jumps. So some of the other ones I'll talk about them maybe after, but yeah, the new Spider-Man line is egregiously oh god, I just I got so frustrated right now. I just lost my whole words. So the Spider-Man line, we're just gonna say, feels like an abusive relationship because Spider-Man was over $200 for little tiny Spider-Man, and the Venom in that set is about the size of this Colossus, $450 retail, not third party. So just put that in perspective. Colossus, it was under $200. For Venom, it was about the same size as him, more than double the price. So that's kind of why I had to stop. I had to stop these. So that was the rundown of the figures. Oh, the statues. Wasn't figures week, it was statues. Now, I always pick a favorite high end and a favorite low end. Damn, this week is tough because every one of these is a freaking banger. So, you know, the default for me is going to be to pick Wolverine because, that's my boy. But if I'm being completely honest, I think the coolest one that I highlighted this week is Nightcrawler. I don't know what it is about the Nightcrawler piece, but I think this is the coolest one that I highlighted this week. I think the way he's posed, I think the little effects and the little effect that he comes with him, I think this one just, it stands out and it pops so well. So, as much as I love the Wolverine one, I think I gotta give the edge to Nightcrawler here. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, who'd you guys like? Loudboy says I like Nightcrawler. All right, all right. I agree. I agree. Gene all day. All right, all right. Yeah, Gene was, like I said, Gene was looking pretty good in this one. But that's the other thing I said at the beginning of this was, can you guys guess which one of the pieces did drastically worse than all the others? And spoiler alert, and it's Jean Grey. So again, one female statue I highlighted this week, and she got less than half the amount of views as all the dudes did. So it is a very, very funny thing that I've noticed about the algorithm lately is I can put muscular, shirtless dudes and they'll get tons of views. But I put any kind of a tight outfit on a female with a tight fitting outfit or cleavage or butt cheeks sticking out or anything like that, and those get throttled now. And this week was a testament to that because, again, as I said before, Rogue got flagged the last time I posted her for adult content and nudity. and she got a adult content and nudity flag here on YouTube as well. So it's kind of like I'm trying to test things out and see, but it is funny because I could post, Veldora from Reincarnated Slime with his shirt off, or Toto from JJK with no shirt on, and they get huge views, huge views. But I can post Rem from ReZero in just, a shirt with some cleavage or whatever, and she gets throttled. I can post Maureen from Midas of Darling where she's wearing a really short skirt and she gets throttled. But then I can follow it up with a shirtless dude and it's way the hell up. So, and it's not even that it's pushing those to my audience. Most of the viewers are non-subscribers. So it is very, very funny to see what the algorithm pushes out and what it doesn't. So it's interesting. But that was my pick. So we got 2 Nightcrawler votes and we got a Jean Grey vote. So yeah, that was it for X-Men Week. That was it for the figures and the statues. So this week, actually, it was all statues this week. So again, it was all higher end stuff this past week. So they did pretty good. Like I said, other than Jean Grey, they did pretty damn good. So I can't complain. I'm just looking at something real quick. Trying to just make sure all my stuff is kind of in a row here because I want to get into our news and our topics now. So we do have some topics to talk about, but I do have just one thing to check on here. And that is going to be what we're doing here. Should I check my updates here before we go and talk about everything going on? So I want to make sure all my tabs are right where we're going here. And I don't think I've got, yes, okay. Got those open. Again, I'm just doing a quick double check. I want to make sure all my stuff is kind of here before we get into the topic. So I don't know what we're going to talk about first. We can talk about Bungie first. Because Bungie's not having a good time right now. So we can do that. And it is not going good for Bungie right now. So do you want to talk about Bungie first? I don't know. We got Bungie, we got Xbox, we got Doctor Who, and Bungie, Xbox, Doctor Who, Palworld and Nintendo. And I found another article here about Ubisoft shutting down some more studios because it's Ubisoft and they're treading water at this point. But yeah, we can talk about all different stuff. But those are basically the topics that I kind of have planned for today. And it looks like we are kind of ahead of schedule today. So we kind of ripped through those X-Men because you know why? Not a lot of comic book fans come on this channel. So when I do comic book stuff, y'all get kind of quiet. So when we do anime figures and stuff like that, man, you guys get talkative. But comic stuff, again, because comic stuff isn't popular really anymore. The comic industry has kind of destroyed itself. So it's sad. So, bear with me for 1 minute. I'm just double checking something. I got an error notification. So bear with me for 1 minute here. I got a little bit of an error notification. I want to just make sure we're good. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry, I was getting all kinds of crazy errors. I'm just double checking to make sure that things are going okay here. Sorry, I'm just getting errors that I've never seen before. So, all right, I think we're okay now. So sorry about that. I got the weirdest error messages today. But okay, we are good. We are good. All right. Okay. So, um, what do we want to talk about? I'm going to talk about Doctor Who first. I think we're going to go with Doctor Who first because you know I am a big Doctor Who fan. Well, correction, I was a huge Doctor Who fan. Um, Still am for the older stuff, right? Not so much the newer stuff. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the Doctor Who stuff. There's probably some that not too many people care about. All right, again, just like with comic books, X-Men, not too many people come to this channel for that. So let's get that out of the way first. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Doctor Who because I don't think anyone's going to really be kind of engaging with this one too much, but I want to talk about it because I am a big classic Who and kind of reinvigorated me with the Tennant era and stuff like that. So here we go right here. And again, I pulled a lot of the news today from IGN because it was just easier for me to just pull from IGN. They had all the clickbaity headlines, stuff like that we could talk about. So here we go. Doctor Who likely now off the air for years, as reports suggest production companies cautious about continuing the series. Time enough. So I've been saying they should cancel the show for the last three Doctors. So whatever. I guess it's about time. Here we go. Doctor Who is unlikely to return on screen for up to 5 years, a new report suggested. Yesterday, the BBC stunned fans by confirming that its previously announced Doctor Who Christmas special had been scrapped, as the rights to produce future series were now being offered to other production companies. The announcement has also acknowledged the departure of veteran showrunner Russell T Davies. Good riddance, because he already ruined the damn show that he made freaking successful. And the production studio Bad Wolf, effectively placing the show on indefinite hiatus. Good. My opinion, good. Shelve it. Let it go until somebody with just sense can just come back and revitalize it, right? That's what I say. Good, just good. This we should do with a lot of these products. We should shelve a lot of them. Let them all take a break. The MCU should have been shelved, taking a break. DC, DC just keeps rebooting itself, whatever. But a lot of these franchises just need to kind of go and sit on a shelf and get brought back later. All right. Deadline has reported that the breakup between the BBC, Russell T Davies, Bad Wolf was a mutual decision based on the realization that Doctor Who, quote, required a level of surgery that could not be masked by the sticking plaster of a festive episode. Okay, wait, did I read that right or did that just sound weird? Required a level of surgery that could not be masked by the sticking plaster of a vet. No, okay, I read that right. It just coming out my mouth. It didn't make sense, right? I don't know. Maybe it makes sense to whoever wrote this or whoever said it. It doesn't make sense to me. Wow. I thought I just had a freaking aneurysm right there. So again, Doctor Who requires a level of surgery that can't be sticking plaster of a fet. So basically, he's saying, "What? We can't put a band in a bullet wound, right?" But the fact is, here's the best part: Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf caused the bullet wounds. So it's a self-inflicted wound, and now you're going, "Oh yeah, we're gonna leave because we can't fix this." But you messed it up. You ruined it. So again, we'll go back to this article. Many fans had assumed the Christmas episode would have been Davy's swan song, with one with the one-off special announced simply to wrap up his remaining plot threads, such as the unexplained reappearance of Billie Piper, whose role may never be established. Whether she was playing the Doctor or not, though, the episode would likely have been expected to establish who exactly is the Doctor now, following the departure of Shuigatwa's incarnation, which was freaking horrendous. He was not Doctor Who. He was just random flamboyant gay man running around. Like, it was not Doctor Who. It may be that the answer to that question simply could not be determined in time to produce an episode this year, or that it is a question the BBC would now rather leave to the series' next showrunner. Newsflash, there probably isn't going to be one, guys. Whatever is the case, clearly it has been decided that the show's future will be served best by starting fresh, and this will take time, even starting sooner rather than later. Deadline reported that 2028 at the earliest was the soonest fans could hope for, though this was, quote, an outside bet. Another production source suggested a hiatus up to 5 years, which the series could use to take a proper break. So, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna double over to this other article, right? Jumping off that, we have right here. There was no script, no actor was ever approached. BBC scraps planned Doctor Who special, showrunner and production company are gone. So this was actually the previous day, right? We only cooked that up to guarantee a future when no one knew what would happen. So the future of Doctor Who is now uncertain. Another confirmation that the BBC has parted ways with its former showrunner and production company, scrapped the previously announced one-off episode due to be aired this Christmas. So they've confirmed putting production of the Doctor Who out to competitive tender this year. Hey, what's up, Loudboy again? Yeah, we're gonna talk. Like I said, we're talking a little bit about Doctor Who because it's near and dear to my heart, man. I love Doctor Who. I hate what they did to it. The company Bad Wolf will play no part in its future. The news follows the departure of Disney as a co-funding partner. So basically, BBC lost its money. And you know what? And here's the sad part: when Disney doesn't want to touch the product anymore, you know it's gotten that bad. That would be like Netflix not wanting to continue something on. Netflix takes everything, and for if Netflix goes, I don't want to touch that, then you know there's something wrong, right? But it's just as bad when Disney doesn't want to touch something. When something goes so paint by numbers, tick every checkbox in the line, like by the books, right? And Disney even says, we don't want this anymore, then either something is really, really wrong, or, and I'm saying this is a long shot, maybe the world is healing. Okay? And that's just wishful thinking for me, I know. But just maybe this is a sign that the world is healing. When even Disney decides to go, this is too much for even us, man. We're out. Cut the funding. Get it the hell out of here. Take it off the platform. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how to take this. Like, I'm taking it as a win, but I don't know if it's a victory. You know, I don't know how else to put it. So it's just funny to me because Disney, that freaking check boxes everything, right, is now even saying, okay, yeah, Doctor Who, it ain't it, man, and they scrap it. So it's pretty funny to see that not even Disney wants to touch it anymore, because Disney has torpedoed almost every franchise they have. I mean, they kind of just did it with Doctor Who too. So I mean, yeah, but it's crazy that even they don't want to touch it anymore. They're like, okay, it went too far. It went too far for even us. It went too bad for even us, and then they stopped. So it's pretty crazy. Former showrunner Russell T Davies has since commented on the news via a post on Instagram confirming the recent report, and that no work on it had ever actually taken place. So the Christmas special always airs, obviously, on Christmas. And you would think they would already have this kind of written, scripted, planned, casted, anything. But right here, he says, we only cooked that up to guarantee a future when no one knew what would happen. But now we do know, and there's no need for it. You'll have to wait a little bit longer now for new Doctor Who, but you'll be waiting for more Doctor Who than a one-off, so it's worth it. For the record, there was no script, I never wrote it, and no actor was ever approached to play the next Doctor. You may disagree, fine, sit in that chair and wait to be proved right. You'll wait a long time. So this is a guy who's just come out like a bitch and gone, hey, I messed up this whole franchise. Guess what? I'm leaving, and now you guys can wait. Screw you. That is a bitch move. I think Russell T Davies is such a goddamn hack now. I used to sing his praises for his older Who stuff, man. He was, oh my God, some of the best Doctor Who. And what he's deranged and turned himself into is nuts. And this is the problem when you give these Hollywood whack jobs free reign, when there is no leash on them. And I'm sorry to say it, you have to have a leash on these Hollywood whack jobs, because they are going to throw all their crap into it. They're going to empty their purse out, and all their counseling crap is going to go out into their show, and they're going to ruin the show. The show isn't You, the series. It's Doctor Who. And that's the problem, what they did with Russell T Davies, where they just went, go ahead, bro, run wild. You got it. And he ran wild, flamboyantly wild with the show. And he ruined it. A show that he brought back from kind of the ashes with the older, not older, but the ninth and the 10th Doctor and stuff like that. He brought it back to relevancy again. And then they wanted to do it again, but they brought back a different kind of unchained Russell T Davies, and they just let him go, and he ruined it. And I hate that just fart sniffing, just condescending, just ass clown kind of response from him right here. It pisses me off so badly. Like, oh yeah, I didn't have anything planned. I didn't have anything written. I didn't care. Whatever. You guys don't like it? Too bad. That is, I hope he never gets work again. I hope his entire company goes under, his whole production studio goes under. I hope he never sees funding for another project again. Because this response right here to Doctor Who and what he did to it, and then just blaming others for it, is horrible. And I think he should never work in any form of media ever again. Maybe just go write fan fiction from now on. The guy's a hack. He's done. He's a has-been. He's a freaking loser. Get him the hell out of any franchise. Don't let him come back to anything ever again. And that's my take. I get so angry over what he did to Doctor Who and how he ruined it. He brought it back, gave it such this light, and then he comes back again and he ruins it. And I know it was a Hail Mary because the new seasons weren't doing too great, but god damn it, man. It's such a shame. It is such a shame that we're losing another franchise that should never have been lost. So, there's my Doctor Who rant. Now I need to take a moment to just. How's it going, Aria? I'm doing all right. How you doing? I was getting a little hot there, kind of ranting about Doctor Who. That's a franchise that it's very near and dear to me. I I love Doctor Who. I want to get my daughter into Doctor Who. But I I don't want to get her into New Who. I don't. And Classic Who is still too old timey. So my thing is, I'm gonna start her with the Ninth Doctor, go to the 10th Doctor, and then we'll probably go to 11. Even though I kind of started to dip out at 11, but um, I want to get her into those, and then like do Torchwood because Torchwood was phenomenal. You know, so I don't know. It's just Doctor Who's one of those things, man. It's so close to me. Like I watched it when I was a kid, and then it went off air, and I would watch reruns of it. And when I was younger, I didn't really know a lot of what was going on. I didn't know the complexities behind it. I just knew it was a fun kind of time travel adventure, and there was some humor to it, and it was fun to watch. And even though I didn't understand all of it as a kid, I grasped the concept of it, and it was a smart show. So it also made you think. It didn't spoon feed you every little thing. It didn't tell you everything. It made you think, and it made you question things. And just like classic Star Trek, these shows made the viewer, they treated you like you had intelligence. And if you didn't have the intelligence to grasp what was going on, it made you want to learn about what was going on. They were smart shows without being condescending. And that's what I miss about the old shows. So it just sucks to see Doctor Who being this kind of mysterious, kind of, again, time traveling guy to what Russell brought him out to being this uh, horrible, just flamboyant, overly flamboyant, like comically flamboyant gay man. It's like, great, yeah, okay, the doctor, he's gay now, great. But he went like way off to rails, like just he's overly flamboyant now. And it was like that every doctor kind of has a similar vibe to them. They have their own personality traits kind of when he regenerates, but never that flamboyant, right? So we went from like there's always subtle variations of the doctor, but when people meet him again, they go, okay, you're the doctor. Like they get it because there's some subtleties to the doctor. There's still the mystery to the doctor. But with this new iteration, when they made him just this big flamboyant, hey, like all that was just it just kind of made the persona of Doctor Who and the mystery Doctor Who become something that it wasn't. And I get it. Russell's a gay man, and that's fine. But again, when you throw this thing in, and it's just like, no, this is gonna be about me now. This show is gonna be about me. Well, Russell, this isn't Russell Dr. Davies. This is Doctor Who. Not everything needs to be about you. And then again, that's more of that Hollywood, sniffing your own farts all day, kind of trapped in your own bubble view. And when you allow that to run free, you get garbage and you get your franchises destroyed because that's what happens. So it sucks. And I mean I could rant about Doctor Who all day. So I wanted to get it out first because I know it's a topic that a lot of people don't care about. A lot of y'all don't care about. I know a lot of my people here were gamers, were anime fans. A lot of people don't care about Doctor Who, but it irritates me. Like I went to my buddy's wedding back in the day, and because I was in a suit, I brought a sonic screwdriver with me to the wedding. I had it with me in my pocket. Everyone at the after party was running around with the sonic screwdriver, posing pictures with it. Like I was like, hey, kind of, I'm all suited up. I'm feeling fancy. I put my sonic screwdriver. I brought it to people's weddings, things like that. Like anywhere I had to dress up, suited up or anything like that, I had my sonic screwdriver with me. Like I was such a nerd for Doctor Who. And it just oh, it just frustrates me to see, again, another franchise destroyed. You know, we've seen it with so much. We've seen it with Marvel shoot themselves in the foot. DC's doing it. Star Wars, Doctor Who, Star Trek. I mean, every long-lived, amazing franchise is just being put behind the woodshed and just shot. And it just sucks, man. Because for Russell T Davies to say something so cringe as to, well, we couldn't really just plaster up the wounds. Dude, it's wounds that you created, bro. You created the problem. And now you're going to sit there and go, well, my job's done. See ya. Like, oh, man, I hope he never gets another freaking job again. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. All right. Loud Boy's saying we got to go to the next topic, man. He's not a Doctor Who fan. All right. All right, let's go to some gaming stuff. Let's go to some stuff that's more in line with the audience. All right, let's go to a little more in line with the audience. All right, should we go Xbox or should we laugh at Bungie some more? Because I love laughing at Bungie. I'm trying to find a good article we can talk about, like for some good news. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of good news. There's a lot of stuff to make fun of. We'll talk about Marathon and Bungie last because then we can make fun of stuff. We'll have a little bit of fun, right? So let's go over to Xbox and let's talk about some of the heads of Xbox Game Studios have kind of decided to part ways. And let's go over here to IGN. I know people laugh at me because I go to IGN sometimes, but you know what? Their site sadly has the least amount of pop-ups, even though they have some pretty kind of cringy, opinions. Sorry, I should do a quick audio check. All right, so here we go. Xbox Game Studios boss departs amid growing concern over layoffs and possible studio shutdowns. Veteran leader Luis O'Connor also gone. So that's 2 Xbox heads gone now. Again, this is from a couple days ago. Yes, yeah. So this isn't last week's news, but this is going to bleed into last week's news. So we're going to start with this, and then we're going to go into some more Xbox stuff from this. So this just happened yesterday. 2 of Microsoft's most senior managers overseeing Xbox Game Studios are departing the business. It's been reported. Head of Xbox Game Studio Craig Duncan and Chief of Staff Luis O'Connor are leaving Xbox after decades at the firm. Abandoning a sinking ship, I guess. We'll see. Both previously served long tenures at celebrated British studio Rare, which Duncan headed for more than 10 years. RIP Rare, man. What the hell have they done? I don't even know. Their last game was like a Killer Instinct game, like live service game. I don't even remember, man. What has Rare done? The departures were first reported today by the Game Business. No reason was given for their joint exit, though it comes at a time of intense concern for the future of Xbox Game Studios and its many staff members, after a dire warning from the Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, over the division's slim profit margin. I've said that many times on this stream, on Twitter, on Instagram, on all social medias. Xbox is ruining the gaming industry with Game Pass. I will be the person who says it all the time, who gets flack for it all the time. I used to say it. I used to make comments on Angry Joe's stuff all the time because he used to just lick the balls of Xbox all the time. Oh my God, Game Pass is the greatest thing ever. All the time you'd hear that bitch say that all the time. And I'd always comment and say, Xbox Game Pass is going to be part of the downfall of the gaming industry. And it's true. When you turn gaming into a subscription service, you're not making profits. It's not going to be viable. It's not going to be sustainable. And if Xbox didn't have Microsoft money behind it, Game Pass would have already been kaput. Okay? I hate when people, and I get it. Gamers love a cheap deal. I love it. But gamers don't own any of those games, right? It's a subscription service. It's a streaming service. You will own nothing and you will love it. And part of what Game Pass has done is also given us more of this constant crap of incomplete games. Well, they're on Game Pass. Whatever. It was free. I don't care. Buggy games filled with DLC, updates nonstop, early access crap, all this other junk that's come with the explosion of Game Pass has kind of been things that are continuing to ruin the gaming industry. So again, I could go on a rant about all this forever, but let's continue on with the article. Sorry. Um, so Sharma's comments have been taken by many as a public warning that Xbox job losses are imminent, and indeed, a Bloomberg report signaled that layoffs would happen as soon as next month. Fans are particularly concerned over the fate of several smaller teams that have not shipped a hit game in years, such as South and Midnight developer Compulsion Games. RIP, I think we just announced they got shut down. Kiln and Keeper maker Double Fine, and the already downsized Turn 10 Studios. Duncan joined Rare in 2011 and led the company through its period where it was best known for Connect Sports to its largely hugely successful Sea of Thieves, which I heard was good. I really want to play that. O'Connor, meanwhile, previously headed the now canceled fantasy RPG project Everwild at Rare, which I never heard of, following decades of service that began back in 1999 as an animator on Potty Mouth N64 adventure Conker's Bad Fur Day. So O'Connor has been with Rare for a damn long time and bounced. That's crazy. When I stepped into the role leading XGS 20 months ago, my purpose was to, Xbox Game Studios, my purpose was to serve our studios, our teams, and the people making our games, Duncan wrote in an email announcing his departure, published by the Game Business. Together, we set out to deliver high-quality games, strengthen the cultural fabric across our studios, and help shape the future of the business. I'm proud to say we delivered many flawless launches that drove business success for the company. Wait, what? Says who? Is the success in the room with us? Like, what's success? What Xbox Studios game has, other than maybe Forza lately, has blown the doors off anybody? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't there for those things. Luis has been a thoughtful, creative, and trusted partner who has consistently championed the craft and supported our studios with clarity and care. I'm grateful for everything she's brought to Xbox Game Studio, and I'm sure she'll be successful in whatever comes next for her. Without Duncan and O'Connor, Xbox Game Studios leaders will now report directly into Xbox Chief Content Officer Matt Booty. Guy's got an amazing name, by the way, for the time being. Last week, video game analysts told IGN that shutdowns and ad-funded Xbox Game Pass subscriptions were likely, as Sharma now attempts to improve the Xbox division's balance sheet. Studios most exposed are brilliant for prestige and rotten for the spreadsheet, one analyst said. So, let's touch a little bit on that. So, that right there, that's a lot to unpack, right? So basically, they had a whole thing where they're saying that Xbox is not profitable, right? I'm trying to find where they said that. So the new head of Xbox and everything has decided we're going to shake things up because we're not making any money. And that is pretty telling because, again, as I just said, Game Pass is not something that is sustainable, right? It's not. It is something, if they didn't have Microsoft's FU money, it would probably already be gone. And I say that because, as much as people crap on PlayStation Plus, you look at PlayStation Plus, they don't give you all the games day one. They don't give you everything on release day. They give you, they piecemeal out some freebies for everybody, right? And people hate that. Well, the difference between Sony and Xbox, PlayStation and Xbox, is PlayStation tries to sell games and they try to sell consoles, and they still are trying to do that. Where Xbox has morphed into this disgusting streaming service that just sharts out whatever, and people are content with it because they're going, well, I'm paying 15 or $20 a month for it. And that has become the brain rot of the streaming generation, I call it, because people don't care what it is. It's just, it's content, it's in my subscription, I'll try it. They did the same thing with streaming services, with Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, all these things. Well, did you watch that crappy movie? Oh yeah, well it was on my subscription. It was on, so I put it on. Why did you watch that crappy show? Oh, I don't know. I suggested it to me, and I just wanted to watch something. You know, and that's where it's kind of become now, and it sucks because, like, we used to actually, I don't want to say investigate, but we used to research things to watch and media to consume and games to play. And it wouldn't just be, oh hey, it's free, it's on Game Pass, I'm gonna try it. And you try a crappy game. Right? They do too much of that now. Like I'll have friends that'll just go, oh yeah, I played the new Hannah Montana game. And it's like, why? Or I played the new, Bluey game. Why? Oh, well, it was on Game Pass. Well, why the hell did you play it though? There's millions of games you can play. But why did you play it? Oh, I don't know. It was on Game Pass. I checked it out. And it's the same thing with shows and movies. I'll have people mention these horrible movies and these horrible shows. And it's like, why did you watch that though? Well, I don't know. It was on Netflix. So I just watched it. We've gotten to a point where we'll just accept the mediocre crap because it's part of our streaming service. And that's why I say it's streaming brain rot. It is, we will consume any crap now because it's part of our bundle. Rather than going, well, I'm paying money for this. I want to make sure it's good. And I think that's where streaming has brought people. Where, like me and others, that I'm friends with, we are physical media people, right? Um, you have to actually know you want that thing because you're paying for that thing, right? I want this movie. I'm gonna buy this movie. I want to make sure I want it. It's not just it's the click next on my Netflix queue. It's the click. Okay, you have to know what you're investing your money into. And streaming services have kind of removed that. And with the way with Game Pass, it does the same thing. But it also, again, removes really any need for the effort because the studio is already getting money from Microsoft, from Xbox, to put their game on the Game Pass. So they already get a flat rate. And while it's not going to probably cover their development charges, their development costs, it's already going to give them some kind of a payday. And so then they don't have to really worry as much about promoting their game and selling their game because it's on Game Pass. And what'll happen is people are going to go, well, this game was really awesome. Do I want to buy it? Well, no, it's on Game Pass. I'll get it for free. So then again, it doesn't generate sale. It doesn't generate any revenue other than that flat rate that Xbox gives you. So I've always said I don't know how it's going to be sustainable in the long run. And now apparently Xbox's boss is not believing that either. So I'm trying to find the follow-up article here, right here. Okay, so we'll jump back to Xbox. I'm going to jump back over to this article right here. I found it. Had to look for it because I thought I had it and I accidentally closed it. So jumping off of that, Xbox departures here, this is where it started from. Xbox Studio shutdowns and ad-funded subscriptions likely after Asha Sharma's stark reset warning. The studios most exposed are brilliant for prestige and rotten for the spreadsheet. That's the quote the last article said. So Xbox will likely undergo studio shutdowns and consider ad-supported subscription models following the newly installed CEO Asha Sharma's blunt warning that a corporate reset was now necessary, gaming analysts have told IGN. Sharma's memo to Xbox employees, subsequently published publicly online, painted an unflinching portrait of the problems facing Microsoft's gaming division and made it clear that difficult decisions were now necessary in the coming days. Indeed, the memo's arrival prompted a report by Bloomberg that suggested a wave of layoffs would arrive as soon as next month, bringing excitement around the brand crashing back to earth after an encouraging Xbox game showcase, which included peeks at numerous upcoming blockbusters and some games being earmarked as console exclusives. The company stopped sharing detailed Xbox sales data in 2015, so Asha mentioning the 3% profit margin now is actually big news to justify what's coming soon. The business is clearly not working. Microsoft could make more money just leaving its cash in the bank, as the interest rates for corporations in the US is over 3.6% currently. So, again, it's what I've been saying all this time. It's not profitable. It's not profitable. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. It's a great concept. But when you flood every one of your games onto Game Pass, day one, you make no money off of those games. And if you are a game company, you need to make money with your games to make other games. I just don't know how. I don't have a business degree, but that's how, that just doesn't make sense to me. So if you're giving everything to people for free or for $15 or $20 a month, and they're playing a dozen games, well, even if that person bought one game a month, you'd be making more than that $20. So again, make it make sense to me. The math just doesn't math. So I don't know. But it's interesting that the analysts are finally starting to come to this realization, and someone in charge of things is finally realizing this. I don't know how no one ever understood this from the jump, but hey, whatever. Considering Xbox was one of the biggest spenders over the past decade, buying up ZeniMax and Activision Blizzard, it's now looking for ways to capture a return on that investment, which they will never make that money back. They could sell a bajillion copies of Call of Duty, and they're still not going to make that money back. I'm sorry. Especially because Call of Duty isn't what it used to be. Is now looking for ways, return on investment. A video game industry researcher and professor at the NYU Stern School of Business. It is common practice for firms to reduce headcount in the wake of an acquisition, but in this case, we can identify several other unavoidable catalysts. First, the Rampocalypse is real. Yes, it is. Blame AI, FU AI. Xbox had already started to de-risk its hardware business by partnering with third parties and creating a partner network. The tripling of hardware component costs has further catalyzed that effort, yet hardware remains in a low margin part of the business. Well, because, again, they've stopped making it a console brand and more of a streaming service. That was their whole deal. Xbox can be everywhere. Xbox can be on everything. You got a new fridge, you can play Game Pass on that. You got a new tablet, Game Pass. Your phone, Game Pass. Everywhere. So people stopped caring about buying an Xbox. I get it, but was it a smart choice? Well, see what these analysts all say. Changes made during the first 100 days of Sharma's reign have also likely eaten at Xbox's balance sheet. such as the cuts to the price of Game Pass subscriptions and the decision to give up PS5 revenue for Gears of War and Clockwork Revolution. These choices might prove popular among fans, but must also ultimately be balanced financially. Game Pass was too expensive, and monetizing players via a monthly subscription clearly has a ceiling. She also signaled a return to exclusives as a central part of its platform strategy. But the honeymoon phase of new management is going to come to an end soon, and we'll start seeing the real work that goes into turning a 25 billion gaming titan around. Before Xbox rolls out additional revenue streams around user-generated content markets and in-game advertising in a long-term, sustainable way, it will be forced to lower its overhead to maintain the 30% margin that they will expect. So, sadly, layoffs now seem likely. Sharma's suggestion that the brand's biggest franchises would now be the company's priority, leaving employees not working on core IPs such as Halo, Forza, Gears, and Minecraft, likely feeling nervous about the future. A 3% accountability margin down year on year against $20 billion of investment over 5 years, while revenue has fallen, is a line written for investors. Head of marketing analysis at Alenia Analytics. Yeah, I don't care. It's bad. My read is that the strategy becomes Xbox doesn't need to make all the games. The company will concentrate first party, spend on the handful of industry defining entertainment scale IP. The franchise is now extending into TV and film, and push the smaller indie adjacent bets out to third party partners instead of funding them in house. So that's basically Microsoft's going to say, we ain't funding this crap anymore. You do it. It's pretty crazy, right? See this there. Yeah, I'm wondering that too. That's one thing, is I'm wondering if those are going to stay exclusive or if they're going to continue development. So yeah, he said, what's going to happen with Gears of War and Clockwork Revolution? We'll see next year. Yeah, that's what I think too. I think we will see them launch on Game Pass, not make any money, and then we're going to see coming to PS5, and we're going to see it pick back up. I do believe that they are going to eat their words, and they're going to go, oh my God, we need the money of the sales on PlayStation. We need the money. We need the revenue. Because that's what they're saying right here. We need revenue. We need to make money. And that's the thing. It's just like I said with streaming services. The only profitable streaming service right now is Netflix. Disney Plus, all these are all losing money for the companies. So streaming is not a sustainable thing. It's not. It never will be. I don't think it ever will be. And that is one thing. Selling someone a $20 subscription every month to have access to everything, and then selling them even one game a month at $40 to $60 to $70 is such a loss for the company. And I don't know how they justify it. Again, they're going to go, well, we've got millions of subscribers. We've got millions of Game Pass subscribers. That's great. But you could also have millions of customers buying 1 or 2 or 3 or more games a month. I mean, I know I go through more than one game every month. Most gamers go through more than a game a month. So even if every gamer on Game Pass bought one game a month instead of buying a Game Pass subscription for $20, and let's say they bought one $60 game a month, you're still getting triple the money coming in than your Game Pass subscription of just a customer buying one game a month. So I get it. For gamers looking for something, yes, that is a great thing for gamers, but it is a bad thing for the game studios, the game companies, everyone creating these games. And if it's bad for them, it's going to become bad for the gamer. As you can see here, studios getting shut down, studios losing people, heads stepping down, people complaining about profits. It's all coming to a head now. And I just don't know where they're going to go from here. So let's see. Microsoft will run through its Xbox business with a bulldozer this year. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like we can expect not only staff cuts, but also studio shutdowns, which we've just seen. This memo sounds like Asha might even change how Xbox is structured fundamentally. One thing is clear. Xbox at the end of this year will be totally different from the Phil Spencer times. Structurally, that may be correct, though the looming impact of layoffs feels sadly familiar. I'm generally worried about the tier of studio given the rhetoric in the memo, Elliott said, of Xbox's smaller development teams. They were acquired in an era of growth at all costs. And that era is explicitly what this memo is unwinding. Again, it's not new either. In 2024, Xbox shut down Tango Gameworks, fresh off Hi-Fi Rush, and closed Arcane Austin too. These studios were prestige-rich, talent-dense, modest on the balance sheet. The memos, we expanded the studio system and found ourselves overextended, is the same logic that ended Tango under Booty and Spencer. I love that guys. So I don't know if I want to keep reading this whole article. This is a huge, huge article. So basically, what can we take from away from this? We can stay. So Xbox risking but closing another company. Okay, well let's jump from that. Let's jump from that. Hold on. We got another Xbox thing to jump on, and this is actually from yesterday. So let's just keep this snowball of Xbox crap rolling along, guys. They mentioned closures, they mentioned people leaving, they mentioned layoffs. Well, here we go. Boom. Microsoft has reportedly shut down south of midnight developer Compulsion Games. What next for Xbox Game Studios? Microsoft is reportedly planning to shut down south of midnight and We Happy Few developer Compulsion Games, which I made a comment and I said, if you make crappy games, you get crappy results. Because I heard nothing but trash about South of Midnight. I heard a lot of people tell me I got it for free on Game Pass, and I still felt like I paid too much. Some people just said the game looked really good. Game had cool music. Those are probably the best things I heard about it. So here we go. Just again, snowballing into that Microsoft just crap sandwich. The Canadian studio was founded in 2009 by former Arcane developers. What do you know? Microsoft closed Arcane too. As a work-for-hire unit. The first game, a puzzle platformer Contrast, that was actually a really good game, came out in 2013. Survival horror game We Happy Few followed in 2018. Now, I own that. I've still not yet played it. I feel like maybe in I don't want to say celebration, but maybe in honor of the studio closing, I should stream it maybe and play it. But I don't know. We'll see. Published by Borderlands company Gearbox. Oh yeah, that's right. Gearbox published that. By then, Microsoft had bought the company, bringing it under the Microsoft Studios, now known as Xbox Game Studios. Kotaku, this horrible journalist site that they are, reports that Compulsion layoffs may total up to more than 90 staff just months after the studio advertised jobs for a new IP. In an update, Kotaku said one source indicated Compulsion leadership is in negotiations with Microsoft over the studio's fate. It is not known where these negotiations may lead. IGN has asked Microsoft for comment. The news comes just hours after it emerged that the head of Xbox Game Studios, Craig Duncan, and Chief of Staff, Lisa O'Connor, had left Microsoft after decades in the company, which is what we just talked about. South of Midnight, an action-adventure game set in a fictionalized American Deep South, launched in April of 2025, and while it was well-received by critics, it failed to find a significant audience. Because, again, critic score does not equal sales, does not equal revenue, does not equal fans. Just throwing it out there, you know. It launched on PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2 in March. Just last week, new boss Ashra Sharma warned of a company reset, which we just talked about, which took most as a signal that Microsoft planned big layoffs and studio closures. One analyst said the studios most exposed are the brilliant for Prestige and Ron for the spreadsheet, which, again, we've said that a couple times because it's been in every one of these articles. So, Microsoft has been said to be speeding up development on the new Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Halo games as it considered restructuring or even spinning off its gaming branch. So, Sharma's ground-shaking memo revealed that Microsoft gaming business currently has 3% accountability margin. which is down year on year. Excluding Activision Blizzard, over the past 5 years, we spent over 20 billion on ongoing investments in our content platform and hardware subsidiary, but our annual revenue has declined to nearly $500 million during that time. Going forward, this cannot continue. But then she also, again, doesn't mention that they spent 70-something billion dollars to buy Activision. So you tack that 20 onto that 70, you're at almost $100 billion and you're not making money. How can a studio and a company, how can they function like this? How? You wonder how they're all closing because they got no money. I don't know, man. Following the recent memo, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said there's more monetization of Xbox games happening than on YouTube than at Xbox, adding the Xbox team needed to figure out how to innovate both in hardware as well as in the games going forward in an economically viable way. No one can accuse Microsoft of not having invested for the last 25 years. Now we have to turn this into a sustainable business that delivers what is fundamentally one of the best sources of entertainment still. Today's news marks a significant U-turn on Xbox brand sentiment after Sharma had stated, to turn core fans around with a number of crowd-pleasing changes and well-received Xbox Game Showcase event in which the Coalition's Gears of War E-Day and Exile's Clockworld Revolution, Clockworld, I thought it was Clockworld, were confirmed as console exclusives. The question now is whether the exit of Craig Duncan and the layoffs of Compulsion Games are the extent of the changes or more cuts are to come. So that's all the Xbox stuff now. That's it. I went a little too long on Xbox, but damn, there was a lot of Xbox stuff to talk about this week, man. Wow. I don't even know, man, where to start. So again, I Xbox is tanking. Holy, yeah. The thing is here's the thing. I don't want Xbox to go away. I don't want any game companies to go away, so to speak. Right? I do say the theory of if you make crappy games, your studio should shut down. That's fair. But I don't want Xbox to go away any more than I wanted Sega to go away back in the day when Sega was in the console market. Because I always say that we need competition in the gaming sphere, in the movie sphere, in the television sphere. We need competition because competition drives innovation, and it also, again, it drives the competitive spirit, right? You want to make a better product than your competitor. You want to make a better game than your competitor. You want to make more money than your competitor. And by getting rid of some of the competition, there's less drive to do that. And again, I've said it on these streams before with retail businesses that had the same issues, right? You've had, back in the day, we used to have Best Buy, Circuit City, Sam Goody, Nobody Beats the Wiz, Suncoast, Media Play, all these other big chain retail stores that did movies, media, and everything else. And they all started to undercut each other. And at the end of the day, Best Buy won, right? Best Buy outpriced everybody. They undercut everybody. They price matched everybody. And they ended up kind of driving their competition under because nobody could compete. Well, you fast forward to today and you look at where Best Buy is. They're closing tons of stores. Their prices are insanely high. You walk into a Best Buy and it just looks like a big empty warehouse. Nobody's in there. There's 300 employees standing around picking their noses and nobody's in there. So you've gotten rid of all your competition, but now you don't have to innovate and you don't have nobody driving the market with you. So you're going to fall because now they're going to fall to places like Walmart and Target and Costco, who are now bigger than them. We saw the same thing with GameStop, where they bought out all their competition. They bought out ThinkGeek. They bought out Funko Land. They bought out EB Games. And now because there are no competing game stores, They became the game store. They also became too big for their britches and now had to close a bunch of stores. Now we see them treading water. So again, without the competition, it hurts everybody, including the one who is up on top. Because eventually, if you're on top and then there's nothing underneath you, guess what? It could fall out. It can literally fall at any point. And that's why I don't want to see Xbox go away. Unless somebody else steps up into the console market and goes, okay, hey, Sega's back. We're making a console, guys. Then I'd be okay with Xbox just becoming a game studio. But with all this news with Xbox, it is very problematic. I mean, I've been saying it for years. Again, I've been saying Game Pass, streaming, all of it's not sustainable. It's not making enough money. And now, again, we see it bleed into, with Xbox and Game Pass, we see it bleed into your game sales. We just saw a 3% margin on games. They're barely making any money off of their gaming division. 3%. That is nothing, especially for a company as massive as Microsoft. That shows that Microsoft could literally scrap all of Xbox game studios, all of it. And all they would lose is basically a drop in the bucket for Microsoft. 3%. That's nothing. All it takes is for one asshole board member to just go, hey guys, do we really need this? This is kind of a loss. Do we need this? We can go buy another yacht if we get rid of this. And it's gone. So that's what I mean, where those kind of numbers are pretty scary. A 3% gain on Xbox. That is not good. And again, it all revolves around Game Pass. Too many people are going, again, I'll just consume any crap on Game Pass. I don't care. It's $20. But again, when you have to actually, as a customer, go, do I want to buy this game and spend the money on that one game? It becomes a different story. And again, it also, when the customers have to buy the games, customers have to actually research the game. It actually makes you put out a good game. It's not just put this out and see if customer consumes it. They'll go, look, it had 20,000 people playing it on Game Pass. Well, yeah, 20,000 people were playing it for free on Game Pass. How many people bought the game? And that's the difference. And I think that's what maybe they're starting to realize now is that, dude, maybe Game Pass just isn't profitable. Maybe, spending $70 million on Activision and $20 million on these acquisitions, maybe when we give all these games away for free, this might just not be a good idea. I don't know. Maybe someone's finally learning that lesson. I mean, like I said, I used to comment on Angry Joe stuff all the time. Not to bring him up again, but like the dude has gotten way unhinged lately. But like he always, in all of his videos, all he would talk about or all of his streams would be Game Pass. He would talk crap about Sony all the time. He'd talk crap about Nintendo all the time. But then he'd be like, his nose would be up the ass of Xbox, just buried into the cheeks, right? Oh my God, guys, Game Pass, Xbox, Game Pass. And he'd be like a raging hard-on talking about Xbox and Game Pass all the time. And I'd always comment or leave in the chat and be like, but bro, don't you think that's going to end up hurting the game industry when you just get everything for free and you're not buying any of the games? Like, I understand the concept, but I just don't think it would work. And I always just say that. And it's just funny that years later now, it's starting to shift and maybe they're going, yeah, this kind of isn't sustainable, guys. I don't think we can do this anymore. So it is definitely interesting to see where this is gonna go from here. I just don't know. I'm just like I'm at kind of a loss of like where to process it because like thinking about Xbox not being around anymore is like I said, it's like Sega not being around anymore. It's been in the gaming industry and the console war for so long that it would be crazy to think about. Xbox shutting down would be crazy. Yeah, exactly. Um, so I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a wild, wild thing. Let's see, let's see, let's see. We got a little bit of time. Went a little long on Xbox. Um, let's go. Let's go. See if we can look up this Palworld lawsuit. All right, so let's go over here. Let's shift from Xbox and shift over to Nintendo. All right, so go over here to PC Gamer, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nintendo and the Palworld lawsuit and things like that. Because it's kind of funny. It's a little entertaining. It's kind of funny to watch all this happen, where Nintendo basically just thought they could own the rights to creature capturing because we said so, and especially when there's companies who did it long before they did. So if you guys know, Palworld came out. It took the internet by storm. Everyone was all about it, and then it kind of got forgotten about just as quickly because I don't hear anything about it. Apparently, the full version's coming out soon. But they had a little legal battle. Nintendo decided to take them to court and say, you stole our idea. Which, I mean, Palworld literally is just a copy paste Pokemon with some other elements added to it. Like all the creatures look like Pokemon. So, this is the funny part, though. Nintendo's legal battle with Palworld looks shakier than ever. It may only get $30,000 chump change if they win at all. It looks like Pocket Pair will come out of this largely unfazed. So it's pretty interesting, right? Palworld's irreverent Pokemon with guns conceit won all sorts of buzz, but also attention from Nintendo's infamous lawyers. Palworld developer Pocket Pair was sued by the Big Tendo back in 2024 over a few Pokemon patents for around $66,000 in damages. That's kind of crazy. Like, that's petty. Small payout for such a big company, but with an apparent aim to bleed Pocket Pair for millions more just in fighting the lawsuit. It's been nearly 2 years since then, and while Palworld remains one of the most played games on Steam, really? Is it? Wow. Nintendo is poised to get less than half of what it initially wanted. That's if it even wins, which is very well may not, according to IP expert and former Blizzard employee Florian Mueller via Games Fray. This litigation is no longer about anything serious in commercial terms. He wrote in an article, he explains that much of Palworld's commercial success came from before the relevant patents were approved and damages couldn't be awarded for any sales that came after any potentially patent infringing mechanics were patched out. So it's only a short window with a limited sales volume for which Nintendo can seek damages. So it's pretty funny. And it does show. So, actually, I'll finish the rest of it because it's a short article. Of course, it's also possible that Pocket Pair's numerous invalidity challenges and non-infringement arguments pay off and Nintendo gets nothing. Either way, the court will express an opinion on November 9th, later this year, and whatever is decided, they said the most Nintendo can get is 5 million yen, or around $30,000. Chump change for either party, and just rounding error compared to Nintendo's litigation expenses. Nintendo's action against Palworld and its broader patent strategy around the popular monster collecting RPG have both proven controversial. Last year, video game patent lawyer Kirk Sigmund called Nintendo's newest Pokemon-related patents an embarrassing failure of the U.S. patent system. A lot of things are. And that it should not have happened. Pocket Bear hasn't shied away from all this chaos, going so far as to announce a familiar-sounding card game, even as it fought the lawsuit. So, yeah, I agree, Loudboy. The Palworld stuff is crazy. It's very interesting. Um, and it just shows. This is why I don't stream Nintendo games. This is why I don't really highlight Nintendo games, why I don't really want to highlight Nintendo Directs, things like that, because Nintendo is very dirty with their lawyers, right? Nintendo is they're very heavy on the hand with their lawyers to just go, sue you, sue you, sue you, take you down. Like, They are very bad. And I've seen a lot of content creators get taken down. I've seen a lot of copyright hits happen on a lot of creators. That's why, people ask me to stream Nintendo games, and a lot of times I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to get taken down. I don't want to get copyright. I don't want to get any of that crap. So I'm just going to wash my hands, play my Nintendo games offline, and call it a day. Um, I would love to stream Tamagotchi Life. Like maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that next week while I have the kiddo before for school break. Maybe we'll do that. It'd be fun. But I just thought it'd be something a little funny to kind of break up from that Microsoft talk because man, that Microsoft dude, that was so deep, that was so heavy. Everything going on with Xbox right now. We gotta finish on a humorous note, but I actually want to check on that as well. It said Palworld is one of the most played games on Steam right now. I gotta see. Let's see. Let's check. Palworld. I don't know. I mean, okay. I'll screen share right now since we're talking about Palworld. So I mean, it's not bad for a game that still isn't even. I don't think it's finished yet, is it? Did the complete version come out? I think the complete game might have come out finally. But I mean, 30,000 players right now, 42,000 for the 24-hour peak. And the all-time peak, that is a huge number. 2,100,000, so almost 2.2 million simultaneous players 2.5 years ago. All right. That's nothing to sneeze at. So it's still holding up all right. It's not groundbreaking right now. But it's still pretty good. Oh God, we're gonna go to we're gonna do a couple wellness checks because we got a couple of games to check in on. So we are going to quickly fire over. I have one article I want to go over just because it's Ubisoft and just Ubisoft again. It's going to go into with the Xbox stuff and the closures and stuff. So, here we go. Ubisoft, another company that can't stop winning. And I mean that sarcastically, guys. Here we go. Ubisoft closing 2 more studios amid further cuts and job losses. How many studios do they have left? I can't imagine they have anything left. I mean, they just file bankruptcy, shut the damn company down, sell the IPs, just do it. Just do it, Ubisoft. Do it. Like, I don't even know. So, Ubisoft closing 2 more studios amid cuts and losses and announces further restructuring. Dude, there is no structure at Ubisoft. What structure is there? So, Ubisoft will shut a... That doesn't make any sense, that line. I had to make sure I was reading that. Ubisoft will shut a further 2 studios as a result of continued cost-cutting measures. Dude, who proofreads these articles on IGN? Is my English broken right now, or does that sentence not make sense? Ubisoft will shut a further 2 studios. I mean, I guess. It's just a really weird way of wording it. It broke my brain for a minute there. So they're going to shut down 2 studios as cost-cutting measures. Development offices located in the Canadian city of Winnipeg and the Serbian capital of Belgrade are the latest to be marked for closure. Further job losses are expected due to organizational changes within the company's global publishing division and in Ubisoft studio based in Barcelona, Spain. The latter will now focus solely on the Rainbow Six franchise, which is doing what right now? Having previously supported other big projects, such as the Rabbids series and Star Trek Bridge Crew. Were those really ever big? I mean, Rabbids, yeah. whatever. In total, the latest cuts are expected to impact up to 380 positions, further downsizing Ubisoft's global headcount after repeated job losses over recent years, as profits have fallen and the company's blockbuster game output has slowed. Back in 2023, Ubisoft employed more than 20,000 staff. As of this year and before today's latest changes, the firm reported that figure was down to 16,590. So now we're down to about 4,000 people on Ubisoft in a couple of years. In March, Ubisoft confirmed that 105 staffers to depart veteran Tom Clancy game studio Red Storm Entertainment as part of a move that downsized the studio permanently, following 3 previous waves of layoffs in the company since 2022. Ubisoft cuts hundreds of staff and fully closed numerous studios in recent times, with 2026 already off to a brutal start. In January, the company canceled 6 games, including Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. I was really pissed about that, by the way. I wanted that so badly. I wanted that Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. I hate them for canceling it. And it closed 2 Ubisoft studios completely, Ubisoft Stockholm and Ubisoft Halifax, while making layoff at its office in Abu Dhabi at Trial Studio Red Links and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora outfit Massive Entertainment. Just a week after that, Ubisoft announced it planned to ditch 200 jobs at its company headquarters in Paris, leading to protests within the French capital. Next, in February, Ubisoft was forced to reassure fans that its long-awaited Splinter Cell remake remained in development after 40 jobs were eliminated at Ubisoft Studio Toronto. So, guys, Xbox, it was a little unexpected. Ubisoft, it's definitely expected. Like, what is Ubisoft doing? What do they have? They're banking right now on the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. I think that's what they're banking on. But they also just gave the final content for Assassin's Creed Shadows, I believe. So, what does Ubisoft have going for it right now? It's sad because the Avatar game was actually really freaking good. I streamed that. We had a blast doing that game. So I don't know. I don't know where Ubisoft goes from there, right? Like where do they go other than away? I don't know. So I don't know, man. Just again, all these games closures, all these studio closures. It really boils down to the market. And again, if people are buying your games, it shouldn't be a problem. But again, we have the Ubisoft games are on a streaming service as well. Once Ubisoft has a streaming service, or do they shut that down? I believe they have like a subscription service as well, just like Xbox and things like that. So again, if people don't have to buy your games, you're not going to make revenue from your games. You're not going to be able to create more games, and you're going to operate at a loss. And then you're going to shut studios down. You're going to lay off employees, everything else. It literally, this is all, to me, this is common sense. But unfortunately, to these companies that just want everything to be streaming, they're not getting it. And I don't know. It's crazy. So we got some more losses happening. Microsoft, Ubisoft. Crazy enough, Sony hasn't announced any yet. And you know what's funny? And I do say it a lot. Is the one company you don't see a lot of news about shutting down, laying off, canceling jobs, canceling projects. Do you know the one company you don't see a lot of that from? Nintendo. And do you want to know why? And again, I say it all the time. Nintendo sells games. They are in the gaming market to sell games. They're not giving you all the games for free. They're not streaming all the games to you. You want a Nintendo game, you buy that Nintendo game, whether it's physically, digitally, key card, whatever it is. You buy that game. And you buy that game on a Nintendo platform. And that is why you don't see, out of all these game companies, you don't see it advertised much that Nintendo is closing this studio. Nintendo is laying off all these employees. Do you know, I believe it was it last year or the year before that Nintendo's CEO took a pay cut so he'd have to let people go. Which year was that? 2024. Yes. So we'll just for example, right here. I'm going to show this article. This is back in 2024. This is why Nintendo is still the way it is, right? Nintendo's CEO halved his salary to prevent layoffs, and it works. Why that's so uncommon today. So, sweeping round of layoffs rocked tech, media, and finance industries in 2024. Some video game fans are thinking about former Nintendo CEO Iwata. Now, Iwata ran the Kyoto, Japan-based video game company from 2002 until his death in 2015. This was back in 2013. It was a commercial failure for the Wii U. To avoid layoffs, he took a 50% pay cut to help pay for employees' salaries, saying a fully staffed Nintendo would have a better chance of rebounding. If we reduce the number of employees for better short-term financial results, employee morale will decrease, and I sincerely doubt employees who fear that they may be laid off will be able to develop software and titles that could impress people around the world. So just to show the different mindset, right? And that is why we don't see a lot of Nintendo layoffs, Nintendo studio closures. Again, they have a different culture and they still keep to that. Whereas everyone else is, oh my God, we gotta buy more, buy more, buy more, buy more, buy more, buy more, get all these studios, get all these studios, get all these studios. And then what do we have with them? We have nothing. Well, what do we do with them? We have nothing. Well, what are we gonna do? Shut them down. And that's what they do. Sony's doing it. Microsoft's doing it. Sony and Microsoft do it because they're in competition with each other. If I don't buy it, they're going to buy it. And that's how it goes, right? And like I said, Nintendo is just over here going, we're going to treat our employees better. We're going to pay our employees better. We're going to create good games. They're going to only be on our platform, and you have to buy them. Sorry to say it, but Nintendo knows what they're doing. And it's crazy to see, like I said, these other companies just focusing on the wrong aspects. And it's showing in their profits. It's showing in their margins. As we just went over it with the Xbox. 3% margin for Game Studio, Xbox Game Studios. It's not good. As that article said we went over, they could invest the money in a bank and get 3.6 or higher interest back on that money. So this is what I mean. Nintendo knows what they're doing. And that's why they make money and they sell games. And they are a game company. And that's the problem with these other game companies that are not game companies. They are just divisions to a larger company. So you're not the only revenue source. Nintendo is that is their source. That is their main revenue. I mean, they make a ton of money off Pokemon too, but they have to share that revenue. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy. But let's go to our final article, and I gotta cover this because goddamn it, we gotta go. We gotta talk about Bungie. We gotta talk about them. Oh, Bungie. Oh man. I really had hopes when Sony bought them that something good might come. And we didn't get it. So we'll talk about Bungie before their studio shut down. And this you know, Destiny 2 kind of had its swan song and ended. You know, they ended support for it. And now the some of the community managers and things like that are kind of being a little funny. And we got stuff like this going on now. Oh God, you'll love to see it. You'll love to laugh at it. So let's get a little bit of a laugh in at the end of the stream. Let's talk about Destiny 2 and Marathon and Bungie. So the only way to keep Bungie alive is to support Marathon, says an ex-Destiny community manager. And that headline alone makes me laugh because we've been dunking on Marathon since it was in like free testing periods, in beta and everything else. We've been making fun of this game. So this makes me laugh. As Destiny 2 fans mourn the game's final update, Bungie's former community manager has said its player count shouldn't be compared with that of a fledgling extraction shooter in Marathon, insisting the company's current issues began long before that's arrival, as well as Sony's acquisition. It is true, Bungie was having problems because they were putting all their eggs in the Destiny basket. Since Marathon debuted in March, and particularly since Bungie announced it was ending development of new Destiny 2 content, fans have continually compared the numbers of players in each game and scrutinized Marathon's lower player count in particular, which we're going to be doing as well. To many, every time Destiny 2 spiked in popularity, its rising player count was proof that Bungie and Sony had acted too soon in ending support. I mean, honestly, people were just waiting for Destiny 3, and they scrapped that. So we got Marathon. Uh, every fresh ebb for Marathon, meanwhile, served as evidence that the extraction shooter had been a fruitless distraction from Destiny development, which many believe was sacrificed so Bungie could get Marathon out the door. I fully believe that. I fully believe Destiny 2 content was cut, Destiny plans were cut, Destiny 3 plans were scrapped because they were putting all their eggs in the basket of Marathon, which was a bad decision. It was a stupid mistake, and the game looked like dog crap. However, former Bungie community manager Liana Rupert has announced that the company's problems predate Sony's ownership to the extent of its $3.7 billion buyout was an emergency acquisition. Now, yes, I do believe that. Bungie was not doing so good. It was kind of up here during its Halo days and its Destiny 1 days, and Destiny 2 kind of brought it back down. And that's where they kind of had their problems. Destiny 2 was kind of its nail in the coffin for its solo studio development. What they did with Destiny 2 broke a lot of players who were Destiny fans, but then over time built things back up. So they did kind of try to course correct. But they did a lot of stupid things where they cut content, they put content back in, they removed DLC, they removed entire like they did a whole bunch of messy stuff with Destiny. So I don't know. So we'll say this fight was pre-Sony, responding to a fan who said that Sony should have given Destiny 2 a chance. Bungie was below the red line before the Sony acquisition. If it wasn't acquired right then, the studio was very close to shutting its doors, at the very least on Destiny. This was an emergency acquisition, which, yes, it was. Bungie was treading water. They were losing money. They were hemorrhaging money. Again, they put all their assets into Destiny. And when you put all your assets into a live service game, that is going to be a mistake. Now your company survives off of what microtransactions and DLC its returning customers are going to go with. And if they're not doing that, you're not making money, you're losing profits, you're losing money on your storage, your network, everything that you have to do to run this live service game. So I say live service games are not sustainable, just as streaming is not sustainable. With Destiny 2's final update now in the hands of fans, the majority of Bungie is now solely focused on support for Marathon. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that. Though fears of fresh layoffs are also looming. Players, meanwhile, have become vocally calling on Sony to greenlight a Destiny 3, something that seems unlikely in the current video game development climate, which they shouldn't. Again, live service games are not sustainable. They are not good for long term. Now, here's my opinion. Make a standalone Destiny game in the Destiny universe, like a Halo game. Throw some multiplayer modes into it. Great. I think you'd have something there. But I think Sony and other studios need to push away from the live service games and focus again more back to the experience of starting a game, going through a story, finishing that game, and not having to focus on, daily raids and daily check-ins and daily this and DLC and this and piecemeal that and buy currency. They need to get away from all that and bring the focus back to a complete packaged game that they can sell to people. Just my thoughts. Um, so it'll be still years away from launch, even if work began today. Regardless, gaming fans have spammed the live chats on numerous recent online showcases, including Sony's State of Play, demanding Destiny 3 development begins. They're not going to listen to you guys. I'm sorry. They're not making enough money off Destiny 2. They're not going to make Destiny 3. Rather than call for a whole new game right now, however, Rupert suggested that the best way to ensure Bungie itself survived to make Destiny 3 someday was to encourage the success of Marathon Now, which is never designed to rival Destiny 2's larger player base while being more straightforward to develop and maintain. Half the community is going to hate me for saying this. Actually, most of the community is probably going to hate you for saying this. But the only way to keep Bungie alive right now is to support Marathon. That is crap. By telling people, hey, do you want our game studio to keep going? Well, if you want to do it, you have to support a game that nobody likes. That is a bogus way of looking at things. That is a horrible thing to say to players, especially players who have put time and money and investment into one of their previous games. I think that's dog shit. I hate that that's even said. It's even suggested. Support our crappy game or our studio will close. Well, again, if you make crap, your studio should get shut down. Sorry. Sorry or not sorry. But if you're pushing out a crap product that nobody wants, I'm not going to feel bad if you're shut down. Listen to your fans, listen to your player base, and go from there. And if you don't, well, you're going to suffer the consequences. It's like that in every industry. So, yeah, people keep comparing marathon numbers to Destiny, and frankly, that's ignorant. It's ignorant. Marathon was never designed to do Destiny 2 numbers. The conversations about that were upfront very early. Sorry. It's more aligned with follow extraction shooter Escape from Tarkov than Destiny. Completely different target markets, so that it happened to have a wide intersection with Destiny target markets since it uniquely has so many. That was a whole lot of word vomit. Basically, we're saying our game, Marathon, is an extraction shooter meant to compete with other extraction shooters. Well, that's great. Other extraction shooters are doing way better. They're still doing way better. They're trouncing Marathon in its numbers. Well, maybe you should lean back on a Destiny. Just a thought, but whatever. The launch of Destiny 2's final update saw the game spike at 167,000 concurrent players on Steam, the game's only platform that publicly displays its player stats. The past couple days has seen slightly smaller spikes of over 100,000 players, but still triple what the game had been pulling over recent months. Well, of course, you announce the game's going to end, it's going to close, everyone's going to come out in droves to support it. And then all the people are going to come out and go, oh my God, I've been supporting this game forever. Well, where were those 100,000 players the past several months? They weren't there. They weren't playing it. They weren't supporting it. Just because you come out in a wild last-ditch effort to rush to support the game doesn't mean they're going to go, oh my God, look at this. There's 150,000 players right here, guys. Look at all the support we're going to get. We should keep going. Well, no. Anyone in the comments is going to go, well, where was that support the past year? Where were those 150,000 players the past year? They weren't here. So, no, it's going to do nothing to push them to keep going with it. It's not going to do anything. It's going to go, okay, look, guys, there's a big surge because we announced it was closing. Great. Do you know what happens when companies go out of business? When you have a going out of business sale at a store, and you got a liquidation sale, you get tons of customers in there. When Toys R Us went out of business, I saw more people going into Toys R Us stores than I ever did over the past decade. They were all going in there for the end of it. This is what happens. I don't understand why people think this is going to correlate to a massive player spike. It's not. And they've already shown its decline. So it's just a one-time thing. Marathon, meanwhile, has had an all-time stream peak of 77,000 at its launch. 24-hour peak of less than 16,000 players, and its numbers are typically a fraction of Destiny 2's. course, this is a snapshot. Many more players will be logging in on games via PlayStation and Xbox, which keep their concurrence private. I don't know why they do that. They should have it all out. So, let's go ahead and let's do a little checkup. Let's check Destiny 2 right now. Fresh refresh. 62,000 players on Destiny 2 right now. 130,000 peak 24 hours. Pretty good considering it's 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern. Let's check Marathon because screw it, let's do it. 6,000 players with a 12,000 current peak. So 62,000 to 6,000. 130,000 to 12,000. Now, Marathon just got its new season update. So Marathon did just have an update. So Destiny 2, and let's let's even go over and do oh god, what's that other oh god. I don't know. I was gonna look for Tarkov, but let's go. Let's check. Tarkov's got more players right now. 18,000. So again, 6,000, 18,000. So again, even against its competition, it's not doing well. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just, to me, it feels like telling people the only way to keep Bungie going is to support a game that nobody gives two craps about. It is just a sign saying, again, R.I.P. Bungie. The studio's probably going by it. I would not doubt that within the next year, by the year's end, we see Sony announce Bungie's closure, where they're going to absorb Bungie into other studios, right? That's just my opinion. That's what I think. That's what I'm seeing in the future. Because if Marathon is all we have left for Bungie, it ain't bringing the numbers, it ain't bringing the players, it ain't bringing the money. And they're going to shut that studio down. We're going to see cuts, and then we're going to see closure. And it's a sad thing because Bungie, at their best, was great. And it happens with a lot of these studios. Bethesda, BioWare, all these studios, they get bought up and they lose everything. It even happens with Square and Enix. When Square and Enix were competing RPG studios, they put out some amazing stuff. And when they merged together graphically in technology, wise, they got more impressive. But the games were never as good as what they were. And it does happen a lot, and it sucks. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I think, like I said, I think by the year's end, we see studio cuts at Bungie's, layoff at Bungie, and probably the closure of Bungie. Thinking those three things are going to happen all by the end of the year. So I don't know. I know it's kind of a sad thing, but it's also kind of a thing I'm laughing funny about because I've been calling it since they announced Marathon, like, we're going to see Bungie shut down. So I guess I say it's funny for me because I've been calling it, but it sucks because, like I said, when Sony bought Bungie, my excitement was they're going to give them Killzone or they're going to give them Resistance. And we're going to see a resurgence of their first-person shooters made by a studio that elevated first-person shooters with Halo. And now the ironic part would be, the full circle moment would be Sony and Guerrilla created Killzone to be a Halo killer. And then at the end of the day, Sony bought the Halo developer and gave them Killzone to become the Halo killer. I just think that would have been a bittersweet thing. I think it would have been really cool to see how Bungie put their spin on Killzone and kind of been like, all right, here we go, Xbox. We have our Halo killer made by the Halo studio. just something again, something I was wishful thinking, but we never got it. Killzone still sitting on a shelf somewhere with Resistance and Infamous and all these other great games that Sony made that are doing nothing with, and Sly Cooper. So, yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. That's gonna be it for today. I we had a lot of gaming stuff to cover, and man, not all that was good news. So, RIP to all the employees that lost their jobs at Microsoft. RIP to Bungie in the future because they're going down the toilet. And yeah, RIP to the gaming industry, man. It ain't doing too hot. I don't know. I don't know. They got to change something. And yeah, so we did have again end of stream. I'm going to go over the figures, bring it back around. So we had an Iron Studios X-Men week, and I did go starting off the week with Cyclops from the Sentinel Battle Diorama series. Again, I said it several times in the stream. I absolutely love these pieces. I think they are phenomenal. I highly recommend them if you can get them at a reasonable price. Again, the newer stuff's pricing is very, very high. So I stick to the older stuff if you can get it. So we went from Cyclops to Jean Grey. Amazing piece as well. Again, she was a little wobbly, so a little bit of tack tape here on the back of her, and she stuck to that base very, very well. No more wobbles, no more issues. Great. We went from Jean to Wolverine, which is another absolutely amazing piece. Bro is jacked. He's ripped. He's ripping through stuff. I mean, dirt, the debris, everything's there. The base, all of it, absolutely spot on. Beautiful. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. We went over from Wolverine to the amazing Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner. And this is an absolute beauty, man. I think this is my favorite piece that I highlighted this week. I gave him the win. And I think it's great. The action piece, the teleport effect, just him bamfing out there into the fight. And again, the only thing I think could have added more to this piece was if he had swap out hands with the swords in them and just gave that little bit more of effect with him with his blades out. But it's Nightcrawler. He's teleporting. He's doing his bamfing, and it looks freaking awesome. So My Hero Academia 10th anniversary and Hero Day. Yeah, we're getting the new Hero 2 episode next month, I think it is. So yeah, we're getting more than that. But yeah. Uh Next up we went with Iceman, Bobby Drake. Again, very, very hard piece to photograph and video because he's completely clear. And very impressed that they were able to get all the details into this being a clear piece. So shout out to Iron Studios for getting such a phenomenal job done on Iceman. He is absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can see the muscle tone in the, he's got shorts on. All of his muscle tone is all there in the ice. But again, it was hard to get a good focus on it because he's clear. So this one was a tough one to film. But you can see that the chiseled abs, the X on his belt, he's got the smile on his face. You can see it there. And it looks freaking awesome. Just, again, very, very hard to capture. And then closed out the week with Colossus. Again, in action, ready to take out some stuff. Rolling a piece of the Sentinel. Hands just kind of gripping that thing. It looks freaking awesome. So those were all the figures that I highlighted this week. And what's my thought about the new collaboration watch? I don't know. Which watch is that? I'm not a watch person. What is the new? Was it like an anime watch? Yeah, I don't really look. I'm not a watch person. The Full Metal Alchemist ones or ReZero. So I'm looking it up right now because I'm not a watch person. So I figured like before I end, I'll take a look at it. So we've got
Yeah, so it looks like we got ReZero and Full Metal Alchemist. Is that what you're talking about? I mean, they look okay. I mean, I don't wear watches. Not a watch person. I mean, they look like watches. Uh, but yeah, apparently they've done a couple of anime collaborations, a lot of anime collaborations actually. But yeah, I watched their $500. I don't. Me, I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about that. But yeah, they're cool, I guess, if you like watches. Not really interested in myself. Like I said, I used to wear watches and kind of stopped. They're more of like a fashion piece than anything else. But yeah, again, I went over my 2 hour mark today, so we're gonna end the stream. I did not do a gaming stream yesterday like I was supposed to. I don't really have a reason. I just kind of wasn't in the wasn't in the mode to do it. I guess sometimes you just kind of have the days where you get up and you're just like, I just not feeling it. So I kind of just wasn't feeling it yesterday. So I didn't do a gaming stream yesterday. I will make up for it, however, and do one tomorrow. So instead of having Wednesday off, where my ears popped, we'll be doing a gaming stream Wednesday, a gaming stream Thursday, and a gaming stream Friday. So well, back to Bioshock. Um, it's been fun. We are very, very close to the end of the game, so we may beat it tomorrow. Probably gonna end up beating the game tomorrow on stream, and then Thursday and Friday. I don't know. We'll figure out something else to play. I don't really have anything specific. I don't think the new Zenless content is going to be live yet. I think it is going to be live. I think it's 2.8. Let's see. I'm trying to look up when the new Zenless is coming out. June 17th. So actually, we will be able to stream the new content. All right. So that's the thing. That's going to be it. All right. If the update is live tomorrow for stream, we will be doing the new Zenless Zone Zero update because I'm very, very excited for that one. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see where we're going. So if that is live tomorrow, we will be streaming that. If not, we'll be back to Bioshock, and then we'll be streaming the new Zenless Zone Zero content on Thursday and possibly Friday. So that's going to be it. New unboxing video is going to be dropping tomorrow, Wednesday. So it is going to be Persona 5. We're going to be doing Joker, the Ichiban Kuji figure. Very excited to check that one out. Can't wait for you guys to see it. I have high expectations for that one. And then there will be another new video on Friday. I'm not sure if we're going to do prize figure face off because last week's episode did not do so hot. Marin Kitagawa did not do what I thought she was going to do. So we may do another review or another prize figure face off, possibly a bunny girl face off. So we'll see how we do it. And then, yeah, that's going to tie up all the schedule for this week. Same thing as always. Shorts, reels, TikToks, all that stuff every day of the week. Posting more clips, stuff like that. If I can get to them. Do I plan on watching it? I've already watched it like a dozen times. The Reze movie? Oh yeah, dude, I've watched that so many times already. Yeah, I love it. So, um, but yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it for this one. Again, next week is school is out now, starting next week. So I have the kiddo for a week almost, and then she leaves and goes away, spend time with some of her relatives out of state for a while. So me and her are gonna be doing some stuff. Maybe we're gonna be doing some duo streams. Next week's episode of Caffeinated Collector is going to be a daddy-daughter stream. So we're going to have the two of us are going to be here kind of going off each other. It'll be kind of fun. I haven't had a guest or anything like that on this stream yet. So it'll be kind of fun. My first guest is going to be my daughter. So we're gonna talk anime. We're gonna talk nerd stuff. We're gonna talk about figures, just like I do now. Only I'm gonna have another person here with me, kind of shooting the breeze. She wants to dress up in Reze cosplay. I might be joined by a Reze cosplayer. I don't know, but it should be fun. And we might do a gaming stream together on Monday. I'm thinking Marvel Cosmic Invasion. We might do a daddy-daughter stream, a co-op stream. So that's going to be it. But thank you to everybody that came in and chatted. I know it was X-Men week. It wasn't a very popular week. Mostly you guys come here for anime stuff. So a lot of my typical anime people didn't show up. But thanks everyone who did show up and chatted. Thanks to everybody who showed up and lurked. Again, I appreciate the support. Thanks to everyone who watches these on the VODs afterwards. Again, I keep getting positive feedback. A little bit of critiquing, a little bit of suggestions. People want me to kind of make some more fancier kind of borders around here, some designs, things like that. I'm working on it. We'll see what we can do. And, step by step. So it's going to be it for episode 20 of Caffeinated Collector. Man, 20 weeks I've been doing this. I'm happy. I have not missed a week since I started. So see if we can keep this going. But it's going to be it for today, guys. Don't forget, gaming streams the rest of the week. And check out the videos on the channel on Wednesday and Friday. So until next time, guys, I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.